New tonight on KGW News, a Beaverton man calls 911 as a driver chases him in what appears to be an extreme case of road rage.
He's driving in reverse right now, trying to follow me in reverse.
Plus, KGW obtains video from inside the Multnomah Athletic Club the night a car drove through the building, then exploded.
And this was a legitimate car bomb.
He could have caused a massive blast.
Then the astronomical cost of fighting wildfires.
It is hundreds of thousands of acres, and we're going to need federal support there.
Why the feds are refusing aid to some parts of Oregon as the state nears record-breaking damage. And later, the view from inside a storm you hope to never see in real life. But we begin at 11 with wild video from Beaverton police showing a case of road rage taken to the extreme. We're glad you're with us tonight. I'm David Mulco. The dashcam video shows a driver cutting off another, going the wrong way, and even driving in reverse with a man and his wife on the phone with 911 and trying to escape. Take a look.
You have reached 911.
The first clue something is very wrong. The driver in that Subaru going backward.
Someone's following me. I don't know. He seems like he has a weapon or something.
The minutes-long encounter, authorities say, recorded by the victim's dash cameras in South Beaverton Sunday morning. We switch to the front-facing camera. Then things get worse.
Oh, dude.
Beaverton police providing only this edited video.
So you have to do a U-turn?
Yeah, I have to make a U-turn because he's blocking the road.
Which doesn't show the confrontation that sparked the chase and multiple near collisions.
Don't worry, Saya. I got this. Oh my God, this guy's crazy. And he's driving in reverse right now, trying to follow me in reverse.
And he does it for over a mile, Beaverton police say, even through a major intersection.
Look what the he's doing.
As the victims head for the police department.
Yeah, oh my, about to hit another car right now.
You're under arrest. Step out of the car.
Authorities arresting 29-year-old Armin Hastings for reckless driving and menacing.
Hey, let's remove that.
And say they found an airsoft handgun in the suspect's pocket. It doesn't appear anyone was injured. Thank goodness for that. Records show the suspect is still in custody and set to appear in court on Thursday morning. Police say they released portions of the video to demonstrate the dangers of aggressive and reckless driving. I want to hear from you if you've had an encounter with the same man. We'll keep you posted. Now to the wildfire fight in Oregon, with the state throwing everything it's got at the fires, even bringing in outside support like this air crew from Colorado. They shared video of what it looks like flying over the central and eastern parts of the state. Wow, all of this coming at a cost, of course, with Alma McCarty taking a closer look at the financial burden on all of us. And Alma, at the risk of stating the obvious, it is still only July.
Exactly, David, only July. And as Oregon deals with what will likely be a record-breaking year for fires, the state was dealt another blow. Federal grants for two of the largest fires were just denied.
At more than 1 million acres burned and thousands of Oregonians under some level of evacuation, state leaders are calling the current fire situation a dire one, the worst in the nation. It's a sentiment shared last week near the fire lines by Governor Tina Kotek.
This is a moment where Oregonians have to come together to defend our communities, to help each other out.
To do that, Oregon applied for federal funds to help with the firefighting cost. The governor announcing Friday that the Trump administration signed off on what's called a Fire Management Assistance Grant for the Akawa Butte fire,
which allows us to have the federal government pick up 75% of the cost and we pick up 25% of the cost. So when you see that level of commitment from the federal government, you know this is a big fire.
But the feds denied assistance on two of the largest fires in the state. The East Evans Creek, with firefighting costs to date estimated at $60 million, and the Rogue Creek Complex, an estimated $14 million firefight so far.
It's hard to tell what the number should be until we understand how the federal government's going to be joining us to cover the cost.
In a letter to FEMA officials, Senators Merkley and Wyden questioning why, calling the decision to deny a significant departure from FEMA's historical criteria and agency guidance. They say both wildfires met the threshold for aid. Although Oregon's far from tallying up a final cost, a rapidly intensifying fire season is sure to rival 2024's. Governor Kotek called in the legislature for a special session late that year, where lawmakers approved $218 million to pay unpaid wildfire bills.
And at last check, the governor said she is not calling for a special session at this point, though she has already declared a statewide emergency so Oregon can be flexible with the dollars it has. David?
A lot of questions, and it's still early in the season. Thanks so much, Alma. You know, Alma mentioned it. We want to check in on the Akawa Butte fire. It's burning north of Sisters. Crews apparently making significant progress. This one has scorched over 27,000 acres. And great news. Once again, many of the evacuation orders have been downgraded, and containment is now at 10%. Yes, double digits finally. Officials tonight thanking some 1,600 crews who played a part in the firefight, and also sharing a moment from a grateful neighbor that's stuck with them.
He says, I want you to know that you're giving us hope. That's cool. That's powerful, that we are here to give you hope. That's an awesome responsibility.
They give all of us hope, right? Many of those crews now headed north to help fight the bench fire that's burning near Warm Springs. Okay, let's check in with meteorologist Joe Ranieri tracking fire weather conditions for us, including when air quality might start to improve. Joe.
Well, that'll slowly improve over the next couple of days throughout parts of the central Oregon area. Eastern Oregon, it's a different story. Air quality alert will still be in effect until late tomorrow morning. This is basically encompasses the east side of the state. At one point, it was almost split down the middle last night of the air quality. Good side was on the west side, east side was in poor air quality. But as we look at the air quality right now, things are improving. It always gets better late at night in the early morning hours. John Day, though, you're still on the unhealthy for some sensitive groups, and you travel over the just south of Pendleton, it's very unhealthy. That smoke and haze is just going to continue to sit in that part of the state here the next few days. But you'll notice it'll kind of finally thin out excuse me, throughout the Bend and Redmond area. It's been very thick throughout Deschutes County, Mount Jefferson area the last couple of days. But this area here east, we're talking Pendleton, Burns, and along the Oregon-Idaho border, isn't going to be improving anytime soon. What we really need is a good amount of rain to help wash out that poor air. Now, that rain, unfortunately, is not in the forecast, and it most likely won't be in the forecast for weeks. As we look at the winds, they've calmed down a little bit. The Dalles, you were looking at gusts up to 40 miles an hour earlier this afternoon. Burns, you're looking at gusts right now coming about 25 miles an hour. Again, those winds will kind of taper down a little bit going into late tonight and into tomorrow. In a few minutes, I'll talk more about your detailed forecast, and I do have a chance to see our temperatures jump up a little bit heading into the early part of next week. I'll talk about that in a few minutes.
All right, Joe, we'll see you then. New tonight, we are looking ahead to Washington's top 2 primary, just 7 days out, with for some new taxes and one of the most closely watched races in the country on the ballot. Here's Catherine Cook.
It's 1 week till Washington's primary. In Clark County, the auditor reporting around 10% turnout so far. On the ballot, Washington's 3rd congressional district, one of the nation's most closely watched congressional races. 9 candidates are running. 2 are leading the pack. Republican State Senator John Braun and Democrat incumbent Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez. In what many consider a purple district, the candidates say they're appealing to both parties.
I didn't run for this seat because I'm ardently partisan. I just really care about where I'm from. I care about being able to represent ordinary people.
Senator Braun is endorsed by President Trump. But on KGW's Straight Talk, he said he doesn't think that's what voters here are focused on.
It's a very independent district, a district that really demands that you go out and solve the problems they're facing. And I think my reputation says I can do that.
The top 2 candidates will advance to November's general election. Elsewhere in Clark County, Fire District 10 is asking voters to approve a $15.2 million bond for a new fire station in Amboy. They've been in their old one since 1963.
Our building is tired. It was built with galvanized iron pipe, so we are dealing with leaks on a somewhat regular basis.
Fire Chief Gordon Brooks says back when their current headquarters was built, they had 11 square miles of service area. Now it's 85 square miles. The bond would cost 45 cents per $1,000 of assessed value. For a $650,000 home, that's around $292 a year.
It is a big ask for our customers. It is time. It's necessary for us to do this.
If you haven't registered to vote yet, you can still do so in person through Election Day at your county elections office, and they'll give you a ballot there. Mail-in ballots must be postmarked by Election Day to count. So at this point, elections officials suggest your best bet is dropping them in a county ballot box by 8 p.m. on Tuesday. David?
Yeah, sooner always better than later. Thanks so much, Catherine.